Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Bailey and today I'm going to be informing you about celiac disease. Are you a victim of frequent headaches, maybe tummy aches? Do you find yourself being irritable constantly? These are just 3 symptoms of celiac disease. I first learned of it 3 years ago when I met my fiance. Since that time, I've noticed how it affects him when he accidentally ingests it, and I've also prepared multiple gluten-free meals to adjust for his diet. Due to the various symptoms, and sometimes lack of them, anyone can have the disease without knowing. It's important that we do know because we need to prepare for our health as well as the health of our children in the future. Celiac disease is a very serious but easily unnoticed autoimmune condition. It affects individuals of all ages and can have multiple symptoms. So if someone does not adhere to a gluten-free diet, they can face serious health implications down the road. Understanding what the disease is can help us understand how it affects our lives and how to adjust accordingly. Icon Health defines celiac disease as an autoimmune disorder that damages the small intestine in which the villi fail to absorb nutrients. The disease can also have a sudden onset. So as a child, you may have no symptoms and may be completely healthy. And then all of a sudden at age 30, it hits you. Because the disease is genetic, it also runs in families. So that means if at least one parent has the disease, the children will as well. According to the Canadian Medical Association, the disease affects 1 in 133 North Americans. Gluten is also found in several different foods. Pretty much if you do not make the food yourself with organic items, it's going to contain gluten. That can be fast food, food you buy at the grocery store, breads, cookies, everything. But there are gluten-free options out there. They range from rice-based to potato-based, as well as sweet potato. Now that you know what celiac disease is, who it can affect, and the dietary options that are out there, let's look at the warning signs. Today, there are over 300 known symptoms. Through their studies, the University of Chicago Celiac Disease Center learned that celiac disease affects individuals differently. A proper diagnosis, therefore, is required because the symptoms can appear completely random. Warren Medical Research Center for Celiac Disease researched the effects of gluten on children with the disease. They noticed a very strong correlation between children with the disease when they ingested gluten that it very strongly related to irritability. Another symptom is nutrient deficiencies. Many adults will lack iron, calcium, and vitamin D, according to the University of Chicago Celiac Disease Center. The good news, however, is that celiac-derived deficiencies are typically restored whenever healing of the intestine happens. So as you can see, children and adults can fall victim to celiac disease. Because of this, it's important to understand that a gluten-free lifestyle is required, and the earlier they're diagnosed, the better. Those who do not maintain a gluten-free diet can face serious repercussions. For women, it may be infertility. The Warren Medical Research Center tells us that a woman's infertility is due to not being diagnosed during her reproductive years. Although more common in women, the disease can also happen in men too. Another symptom is depression. Psychology Today shared the startling fact that depression caused by celiac is often misdiagnosed, and they're just treated with medication. Dr. Greenwald made a discovery. He had a patient that had depression, and by the trial of elimination, they removed gluten from the diet, and the symptoms of depression disappeared. Perhaps the most severe of all possible outcomes is intestinal cancer. Those with celiac disease are more likely to develop intestinal cancer if they're left undiagnosed or if they fail to adhere to a gluten-free diet. But there is good news when it comes to that. The National Foundation for Celiac Awareness states that after a gluten-free diet has been maintained for several years, the risk for cancer drops to the typical populations. So the intent of this speech was not to scare you, not to worry you, and not to make you feel like you have the disease. My desire was just to inform you of this serious yet very manageable disease. It's important that you understand how it may affect you or your family members, because perhaps it won't happen right now, and hopefully never, but if it does, you have the knowledge required to understand it. And let me reassure you of one more thing. Knowingly living with celiac disease is easier than living with it and not knowing that you have it. Besides, I like the gluten-free bread way better than normal stuff. Thank you. This is Rachel Bailey.